It says system update available, preparing to download. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this thing do its thing, and I'll join with you when it's done. Okay, so the Chromebook rebooted, and this is what I'm greeted with here, a sign-in. Now, while it was doing its download process, I just took a little closer look at the device here, and it does look like this entire thing is slightly rubberized, the entire outer bezel of the screen here, and the screen is a little bit of a step down from that bezel. So when this is closed, I'm confident that the screen itself will not scratch the keyboard, and vice versa. The keyboard will not scratch the screen either, because this entire area is rubberized here. So it wants me to enter in my Gmail information. So let me do that, and I'll join you on the other side of that. All right. It's signing me in. And it says, welcome to the Chromebook family. Explore the goodness of your new Chromebook with this guide. We can't wait for you to get started. Well, let me go through this just so I can actually use the touchscreen. And as you can see, it's pretty responsive here. It says, welcome to your Chromebook, Chromebook goodies. Let's see. Get work done, keep in touch, listen to music, add apps, work offline, make it your own, edit photos, print files, touchpad tips, keyboard tricks, stay safe. So, as you can see, the touchscreen is really responsive. And at this point, there really isn't a need for a touchscreen on a device like this, but I'm sure in the future there will be. So one thing I do want to try out on here is Angry Birds. Now, I haven't played Angry Birds in probably, I don't know, definitely over a year, if not 2 years. But it's the only thing I can think of right now which would actually use the touchscreen and we can see the responsiveness on it. Now, what I'd like to see in the future is I'd love to see Android apps made available for Chrome OS devices. But I'm not a programmer, so I don't know the ins and outs of doing that. Now, as I'm looking at the keyboard here, there's a pinhole mic here. Generally, you'll find your mic up by the webcam, but since you have a glass screen on here for the touch screen, you have a mic that is not in that area. Okay, I just downloaded Angry Birds from the Chrome Web Store, and there's one thing to note. There is no on-screen keyboard with a Chrome OS device. You have always a physical keyboard, and that's because Chrome OS doesn't come in a tablet form factor. You only get it in a netbook or a laptop form factor here. So let's see, let's go to the apps we have here. Let's go to Angry Birds, and let's see how this works here. And we can also check out the speakers on this device. Now, in my experience with some of the previous Acer Chromebooks, or at least the Acer Chromebook that I have, the speakers were not of the best quality. So let me just crank this up here and we'll see how loud this gets. You get a decent loudness on there. I'm going to put it on mute because I'm sure we've all heard that song before. But so far so good. The sound wasn't the fullest. It's a little bit tinny, but the volume is there, and that's really what's important. There's nothing worse than having a laptop that when you crank it up you actually cannot hear it. So I will do further tests on this, and I actually have a series of videos that I'm going to do, which is going to be a Chromebook showdown. And believe it or not, I have 5 Chromebooks, including this one, in my possession. So I'm going to pit them against each other, and we're going to come out with a winner. And also I'm going to go over what has, the best keyboard of the 5 that I have, what has the best volume, and all of that good stuff. So stay tuned for that. So let's hit play here. And again, everything seems very responsive on this. So let's see, I don't know, let's just use this one here. Okay, let's see how pinch to zoom works on it. I don't know if it's going to work with this, but we'll find something that I can pinch to zoom. Let's pull it back. Seems very responsive. Just like you would play it on a tablet or a phone. Now today, Dell actually announced a Chromebook of their own, the Dell Chromebook 11. And let's see if we can look that up. Okay, I just pressed on the URL field up here, and you have a couple of options here. I could actually cut, copy, or let's see what the more is here. Okay, so cut, copy, delete, all that good stuff. So you do have some options here just by using the touch interface where you don't have to use the keyboard. But if you do want to type, you're going to have to use your keyboard. So let's look up the Dell Chromebook. Alright, again, let's just try the scrolling here. Looks pretty decent. Very responsive. Let's go to the Dell website and let's pull up this picture here and let's see if we can do a pinch to zoom. Okay. We have to try and figure out what we can do a pinch to zoom on. It's certainly not these web pages here. Alright, let me see how I can actually interact with this picture here. Let me do a long press, and I have an option to save the image. Why don't I try and save the image? And then we'll try and manipulate it. Okay. Alright, still can't do that. Alright, I haven't figured out how to pinch to zoom on this device, even if it does support it. I don't even know if it supports it. But I will do a little bit more digging, and I'll report back to you in my next video on it. But so far, seems pretty decent. Screen quality looks good. Let's see what the viewing angles look like here. Pretty decent. The touchscreen is interesting to have on here, and one thing I didn't mention as I was typing on it was the keyboard seems pretty sturdy. I'm sure there's keyboards that are more sturdy than this, but there's really not a lot, if any, flex when you press the keys, which is good. The touchpad, which obviously I'm not using much because I'm using the touch screen. Touchpad seems pretty responsive, and the clicking seems firm. And one thing that's interesting is the entire touchpad clicks, even up top here. Mostly on the bottom, but even when you press on the top, which kind of actually flexes this area of the laptop here. I don't know if you can see that. Now, one thing I just actually discovered on this is that the trackpad is set to the inverse. So they call it Australian style on here, but normally if you would scroll down on the trackpad, your page would scroll down. But it's inverse, just like you would find on a OS X device. You scroll up and you scroll the page up. So it's basically just keeping in line with what you would do when you use the touch screen. So if you scroll up, you move the page down. Same thing if you scroll up on the touchpad, and vice versa. If you don't like that, you can switch it back in the settings. So far so good. I like what I see, and I will report back to you on this device in a future video. So that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And if you want to help out my channel, give me a thumbs up, favorite this video, or share this video. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.